All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be covering a couple of stories. We're opening with Elon's revelation on some of the things that the media is hiding about the happenings in Spain. Yesterday, we talked a bit about how cultural enrichment is thriving in Spain right now, since a bunch of military-aged men with off-the-charts libidos raged across the border, and one of them was found in his underpants in a woman's bedroom at 7:45 in the morning. And there's stories like that coming out of Ceuta. But do you hear it from the mainstream media? You do not. We're going to look at what Elon essentially uncovered about some of the other happenings that have taken place. But before that, we're going to watch this video because I like to look at how the other side lives and how they think. And we know that during the Biden years, there were people who claimed that that MAGA or the right, we wanted to ban books. We wanted to ban books. We wanted to take humanity back to the Stone Age. Let's see the kinds of books that they are claiming that we're trying to ban that would be that would prevent our kids from becoming scientists and astronauts and doctors and surgeons that literally move civilization forward. We're going to look at that. And then we're also going to take a look at the DSA at some point in this live stream. Now, while the live stream is going on, don't forget you can send your comments in the chat. I will read every comment. And we're making available the call-in link. Hold on. I need to post the call-in link before I forget. So if you feel like you want to call in and just share a few of your thoughts or some of the things that you've experienced that either confirm or contradict the reports that we're putting up on the screen, you can use the call-in link that's right now available in the chat. Now, let's jump in and start with this story. There's something seriously wrong with people that think it's all right for a sixth grader to read a book about how to. Let's watch this video.
You are wrong. I know these people. These are my friends. You.
We want to show parents some of the things that are in the library here. So this is the 12-year-old book of the year. It tells kids the names of sex toys.
What the heck?
It's here on the shelf.
It's on the shelf.
No, I cannot believe that's on the shelf.
We're not against the book. We're just against the books being accessible to children.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Yeah, you wanna give me that propaganda?
I'll tell you if you're really interested.
I'm not.
Do you want to
I
know?
really just want to give you.
But I'll just tell you what we've been telling others. In the minor section.
Define the minor terms.
Under 18 legally. So I'm talking legally.
Right.
Under
so that's
18.
Where we definitely disconnect, but continue.
Again, we're talking about the graphic sexual activities that are here. And so we are saying,
no problem with that.
Sure.
That's just one graphic.
So, hold on. Like, I couldn't help but notice this guy, okay? This guy here.
Legally.
Right.
He represents the average lefty that just wants to go against any argument or any common sense that you bring to the table. They just attack immediately. Even when you present them with the evidence, they don't want to see it. It's not that they can't see it, but it's too painful for them to admit that the ideologies or the policies or the ideas that they're pushing are absolute insanity.
So
Under
that's
18.
where we definitely disconnect, but continue.
Again.
So he claims that the age, the agreed upon age of a minor, that every one of us understands that that adults or adulthood officially begins at 18. He disagrees. So what's the age of consent for this guy? I wonder what the age of consent for this guy would be. This looks like the kind of guy that would want to vote for. Okay, let's keep going.
Legally. So I'm talking legally.
Right.
Under
so that's
18.
Where we definitely disconnect, but continue.
Again, we're talking about the graphic sexual activities that are here. And so we are
I have
saying,
no problem with that.
sure.
He has no problem with graphic activities being shown to children in kindergarten.
That's just
That is
one.
too graphic, yeah.
It is in the library, you're absolutely correct, but it is not in the minor section.
What section is it?
It's in the grades 6 to 12, which are not minors from a curriculum standpoint.
You don't
What?
know what a legal minor
No,
is?
I know what a legal minor is. I'm very aware.
Okay. And it says there's nothing wrong with enjoying some. It's a fun, sugary
What?
treat.
So I would prefer my 12-year-old to not just be randomly surfing the internet and actually do understand.
So do it in your household. Let's not make your deranged private policy something that affects millions of other kids in the school system. That's the problem with leftists. They don't want to leave you alone. They don't want to keep it, they don't want to keep the depravity in their own private space. They need for that depravity to enter your space. And the moment you push back, you're a bigot, or there's something wrong with you, or you're not progressive enough. I don't want to raise my kids the same way you raise your kids. I don't. I want to raise my kids differently.
And where
We
different sites are
agree
coming
with
from.
you.
And you really should come to me so
Yes.
I can buy
Correct.
good.
That's your decision. Okay, that's okay.
I want my children
It's okay.
to be able to walk over, who's over the age of 12, be able to pick up a book and see a butt plug in it.
All right. So how many of you can bet that he doesn't have kids? How many of you can bet that he doesn't have kids? Because any father with kids, with daughters, wouldn't be so flippant about this. But unless you're a movie star who wants to trans your kids, okay. But regular people, most regular people now. I'm having second thoughts because there are lots of people right now who are doing things with their kids that we don't understand. I think yesterday during the panel, Hickox mentioned that hey, there were people who were literally taking, or was it Hickox? But there were people who were literally taking their kids to protest. Sorry, that time. Hold on. Sorry, guys. My son, my youngest, has this little drone, and he broke the, while flying it, he's been crashing it, and he broke the tail prop. And I'm trying to do the responsible thing as a dad to fix it carefully. And he's being impatient, and he's coming up and trying to get me, and he's even cracked the rotor wings. He's cracked them because he keeps crashing them. And granted, these toys are actually meant to be used by 5-year-olds. He's less than 5 years old, and he's just, but he's good at it, but he's broken it, and I have to do daddy things, and he's awake. So sorry, guys, for that little lapse. So I can guarantee you that this guy doesn't have kids. And in his mind, okay, him being bombastic about kids watching X-rated content or seeing X-rated content. Look at him, all right? He wants his kids, which I assume he doesn't have any, okay? I assume he doesn't have any. If he had any kids, perhaps they will be standing beside him like some of the other women had their little toddlers standing, beside them. So let's keep going.
I want that. Again, I apologize.
It's okay. You're all right. We're not holding anything against you. It's okay.
I don't need your forgiveness.
These people are sick. Okay, these people are sick. You can't build a functioning society with people like this. They happen to live in the West, where they are allowed to be as obnoxious and as rancid as he's being, but he can't survive in a society that he's trying to build. Let's say he moves to somewhere where there are no rules, no laws. Do you think this chubby guy is going to survive? He's not. The world they want is a world that will eat them alive.
But also, you're not protected.
It's okay. I still feel that way.
Yeah, so that essentially, it's unfortunate that we get to see all of those crazy things. Now, before we watch the video on Elon, there's this post by Babylon B. Okay, I saw it and I said it's a good segue into the story. Spain proudly announces that Ceuta is the fastest growing city in the world. Okay. Spain announced that after a recent demographic, I'm going to drop the music. Hold on. So Spain announced that after a recent demographic change, the city of Ceuta is now the fastest growing city on the planet. Of course it is. Ceuta has become something of an overnight sensation, with tens of thousands moving into the city over the course of mere hours. Of course, military-aged men running through. It has become the hot destination, especially for young men, said Spanish government spokesman Alejandro Villa. Look, what's going on in Spain, we're smiling or laughing about it, but if you live in that reality, well, I think we had a protest. There was a protest, I think, over the weekend. There was a protest over the weekend. So while most of us are, we're spending our weekend mowing our lawns and so on, you had tens of thousands of patriots marched in Ceuta this evening. This was yesterday, against illegal migration. And the traitor Pedro Sanchez. We won't see this on mainstream media. So this is happening. I see you, Hickox. Hickox is in the chat. Hickox can't make it to the panel today, but he'll be in the chat. All right. So this was happening, and there's other posts. All right. So this was yesterday. So while we're essentially just kind of trying to find the lighter side of this report, the actual citizens in Ceuta are having a very hard time with this catastrophe. All right, so let's see what Elon had to say. Okay, let's see what Elon had to say. And this is a video coming from the liberal hive mind. So we're going to watch this video together. We're going to react to it, and you guys let me know your thoughts in the chat.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's the meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, folks, now you know exactly why I always say this. I don't ever want to hear another frickin' leftist ever lecture me about what is humane ever again. Oh, you right-wingers, you lack humanity and compassion. You don't care about people, and especially you don't care about the kids. That's what they always say. But they push this nonsense as they're either enabling or engaging in the most inhumane crap you will ever see in your life.
And they say all of that so that you shut up and you don't push back on the insanity that they're trying to establish. They need you to be quiet, because once you bring up the argument, their argument can't survive contact with reality. So that's the problem for them. They struggle with that, and they need you to be quiet. And that's why they've been pushing censorship so hard.
And that's exactly what's going on here. Probably the worst hypocrisy is that they brand said inhumanity under a guise of humanitarian progress. Oh, we're so progressive. Meanwhile, what they're really doing is not saving lives, protecting the innocent, taking care of refugees. They're sending young girls into human trafficking and abuse. We got some information being released from a couple Spanish outlets in relation to what's going on in Ceuta, Spain. It's one of those stories where I want to say, you guys won't believe what I'm about to show you, but unfortunately, you're not going to be surprised at all. No, it's quite believable, in fact. It's kind of exactly what you'd expect, and again, this is what the left is enabling under the guise of humanitarian projects. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so this popped up on my timeline this morning, and Inevitable West writes, breaking, Ceuta Hospital, or Ceuta Hospital, Ceuta, whatever it is, has revealed that 5 girls under the age of 14 have been admitted over the last week suffering from cases of extreme RAPE. On average,
5 girls under the age of 14.
They record usually 3 to 8 RAPE reports a year, and that includes adult victims.
So they usually record 3 to 8, but in 1 week, they've had 5. I wonder what's changed. I wonder what's changed. We're stumped. We don't know what happened. Okay, isn't culture supposed to be more refined when these people break into your country and ransack your streets and begin to engage in cultural enrichment? Isn't that supposed to improve the place? I wonder what went wrong.
It's a massive cover-up. And it's one of those stories where, again, even though it's so believable, it's not the type of thing that you're simply just going to accept right off the bat. And just being fair, a lot of these kinds of claims and big stories tend to be fake, especially from accounts that you don't necessarily interact with much on social media.
And that's why I like to get most of these stories from X. If you've watched me long enough, you know that I like to go to X because X does the heavy lifting with community notes. And Elon is going to use community notes to verify if this is true.
So I wasn't exactly sure, but then, doing a little bit of digging and actually, in this case, just scrolling down, there's a Grok fact check here from Elon Musk. Spanish media, including El Español, confirm at least 5 under 14 girls, all Moroccan minors who entered Ceuta irregularly, were treated at the local university hospital last week for alleged RAPE cases. Ceuta official RAPE reports average low single digits annually, by the way, typically 1 to 4 per year, with broader crimes in the range of 3 to 8, making this concentrated spike highly anomalous. Well, there it is, above the yearly quota in just a couple weeks. And probably the craziest part, those 5 cases likely don't account for the total, maybe not even close. Probably a fraction of what is truly going on here. And
that's because there's only a small fraction of RAPEs that get reported. Even under normal circumstances, there's usually a smaller number that get reported. So you have these 5 that have shown up. Who's to say that it isn't 3 or 4 times worse, or maybe even 10 times worse?
That's the kind of thing that should make your blood boil. When you see what Democrats are enabling, and probably most concerning, what you see Democrats are trying to import into your country under the sickening notion of cultural relativism. These are not isolated
and cultural enrichment. Let's not forget that.
Accidents, folks. This is not the type of stuff that happens in every society, and therefore you should look the other way. No, this is indicative of the culture that is being brought over the border. This is what happens when you import these social pathologies of North Africa and the broader Islamic world. Oh, well, how could you say that? Are you kidding me?
العرف السائد عند المسلمين هناك أن الحجاب يبدأ للطفلة من سن الثانية تعود على الحجاب، وهذا الأمر يدفعنا إلى أن ننافس، فنبدأ على أقل الأحوال نعود البنات لدينا من الوقت السابق كما قلنا موضوعنا اللي هو البدء من البدء، وخصوصا أن هذه التجربة لن نخوضها نحن بصفتها تجربة يتيمة لم نسبق لها. لا، نقول الآن في دول كثير بهذه الصورة، دول شرق آسيا، وحتى أنك تميز المسلمة هناك بحجابها وحجاب ابنتها، لأن الدول يكون فيها أحيانا أكثر من ديانة. هذا الأمر يجعلنا للأسف الشديد يعني نود والله هذا الأمر أقوله لكل مشاهد، نود أن هذه الصورة نجدها لدينا. لا نجد لدينا صور من التكشف ولبس العاري حتى لمراحل الفتنة قد تبدو واضحة في الطفلة، قد يكون لها أحيانا أوتيت بسطة في الجسم، يبدو عليها جمال، يبدو عليها.
What is it about Islam and sex? All right. Is it 72 virgins, a stream of wine in your backyard if you blow yourself up, and then protecting your daughters by covering them in a sack? For all intents and purposes, the hijab is a sack with eye holes for them to see through. And then I'm watching this guy, and he's saying all of this with a straight face. Okay? For him, it's perfectly normal. These people they are not compatible with Western civilization, but the West has thrown its doors wide open, all in the name of being inclusive and in being diverse. And they want to bring this, look, I want to say this, and it's kind of a side tangent, and I'm going to say this, and it may ruffle some feathers, okay? But I've seen Americans who try to pair being a Christian nation with women exposing themselves, or their clothing being revealing. Okay, now nothing could be further from the truth. In the Bible, the Apostle Peter talks about modesty, that women should dress modestly. So Christianity is all about modesty, is all about not dressing in a provocative way, and so on. Okay, so that argument has to be thrown out the window. What Christianity does provide is a means for people to self-govern, to govern their own lusts. A man who sees a person they're attracted to, whether the person exposes themselves or dresses in a way that turns them on, the man should be able to govern his passions. That's what Christianity teaches. However, Islam teaches that if a woman happens to expose themselves and the man loses his mind and decides to enrich that person, well, it's the woman's fault for not covering herself up. That is what these people say. That's the worldview that they hold to. Okay, yeah, I see you gardening. Good to see you in the chat. Good to see you in the chat. Look, that's a worldview these people support, and well, we'll keep listening, because part of the frustration that I have with the left is that they want to appear to be allies to people like this, but people like this don't see them as allies. I remember one protest that I saw in the UK. Just give me a second, I'll pull it up. There's a protest that I saw that basically had people who were LGBTQ. Let me see. I hope I can find it. Yeah, basically they're like, hey, we're part of you. We're on the same side. And the people who were protesting just spat at them and said, look, we're not on the same side. We're not on the same side. We're not the same. Get out. Okay, I can't find it. It's too soon. I'm going to have to stop doing stuff like this. Okay, so let's listen. Let's keep listening.
يعني بدانة أو شيء من هالقبيل، فتجد أنها في صورة من التكشف والعري الذي يعني أظن والله أعلم أن هنالك فتاوى للعلماء في تحريم هذا الأمر، حتى ولو كانت لم تصل إلى مرحلة البلوغ. لأن الطفلة متى ما كانت مشتهى فإنه يجب على الوالدين تغطيتها وحجابها.
That's an imam arguing that girls, even at the age of 2, should be mandated to wear full veil as to protect them from the lust of older men. Are you freaking kidding me? The fact that that conversation even needs to be had within this particular demographic is all the proof that you need that we are culturally incompatible, and not to mention the broader Africa.
Some of them, they're not screaming. It's like they wanted to be, you see. She also grabs you see, no more
like
crying.
She's like, enjoying it, you know, see. Even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
Oh
do you think it's right? Do you think it's right?
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects the person that's...
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up.
His eyes got big. We are not the same. We are not the same. Okay? And you're like, hey, you're an immigrant. Yes, there are immigrants who don't think like these people, if we can call these people. He's asking, you see his eyes got big because let's keep watching. It gets worse.
People,
I'm not just talking about. I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on the girl.
Yeah. Sometimes we know that we might and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV. You know.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. Okay, I shouldn't be laughing. I wonder which network this guy is with, okay? Maybe he's from the BBC, maybe he's from a left-leaning outlet, or maybe he's conservative, but he's clearly in shock. He can't believe what he's hearing. The consequences of what you're doing, and all they're thinking about is getting caught. Oh, she might scream, and people will wake up and catch us culturally enriching her. Or we might do the deed, wake up the next day after culturally enriching her, and oh my goodness, we caught something while doing that. That's the problem. Let's keep going. It gets worse.
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
I also do regret about it, because if she fell pregnant, what?
Look at his face. Look at his face. Look, I think, I don't know. I don't. There's a reason why there's a process. There's a reason why there's a process of allowing people to come into your country. These people exist. The problem with the left is they assume that everyone is basically good. They believe in this lie of the noble savage, that everyone is basically good, that Christianity and laws have corrupted mankind, that we have to strive to go back to that state where there was no law, where there were no encumbrances. You should be allowed to do whatever you like. You shouldn't have restrictions on the age of consent, and all of those things. They are a problem, and Christianity is a problem. You should let people do whatever they want. That's what the left wants. These are the people that they want us all to devolve into. This is who they believe is the noble savage.
Who will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
But what about her personal feelings?
And again, bringing up this idea of magic soil.
They had there's no women's rights according to these people. They are property. You see, and to be honest with you, or to be honest with you, they have no concept of anything that we're talking about. They have no concept of it. So you can see how clueless they are.
But there's no such thing as magic soil, as if the moment you open the border to foreign groups, the moment they step foot on your soil, all of a sudden, all the cultural and social pathologies just simply cease to exist. Of course they don't. These behaviors don't magically disappear just because you crossed a border fence. No, they travel with the people. You are importing exactly that into your world. And let's not shove our heads in the frickin' sand as if this hasn't been happening for 2 decades, especially in Europe. We've seen the numbers of tenfold increase in these particular types of assaults, mostly targeting innocent young native girls. And at every step of the way, the left has enabled it. They've enabled it all. They scream about humanitarian duty. Well, where's the humanitarian duty to protect these girls or to protect our girls? Where's the outrage as they're facilitating the exact conditions required to hand over these children straight into the arms of predators? They're so concerned about the migrants, so incredibly concerned about these military-age men invading our borders, but they don't have a single interest in the predation that follows. There's nothing humane about enabling human trafficking networks that push minors into chaotic, unprotected situations. There's nothing compassionate about prioritizing the feelings of the invaders over the safety of these young girls. And that's where you start to see exactly what's going on here. It's not about compassion. It's not about doing what's right. It's about political power. What the left really wants is an indentured servant class. They want masses of political loyalists, loyal voting blocs, people who will vote for them in a transactional nature. And it appears they're willing to sacrifice absolutely everything, including young women and children, at the altar of power pursuit. And once again, this is not a refugee crisis. No, it's something very, very different. Frankly, much more sinister and much more dark than you could ever possibly imagine. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and
So that's Liberal Hive Mind. You can follow his channel on YouTube. He does great work. Now, Lynn says, wow, just wow. Look, as much as this is shocking and crazy to hear, it gets worse. It actually does get worse because these are the nice guys. these men, okay, these men we just looked at, these are the nice, these are the tame ones, okay? So it gets much worse, and I'm not saying it to stoke fear. It's really facts. It's out there. So if you go down that rabbit hole, you're going to meet monsters, and I don't want to belabor the fact. You know, while I was in Nigeria, my last couple of months in Nigeria, in March of 2022, I was speaking with a friend of mine, and I said to him, I'm looking at the West, and if I'm seeing the moves that are being made by Western leadership clearly, it looks like they are envious of third world countries like Nigeria, where the leaders or the presidents and dictators of these countries can act with impunity, can engage in corruption without any consequences. It's almost like they desire to be like these third world countries that don't have any rule of law. And the more I look at what's going on in the West, the more I believe that I was right. And I said this all the way back in March of 2022. Back then, I didn't have this YouTube channel going, and I've said a lot of things over the years that have turned out to be kind of true or close to the truth. And if I had said them, if I tell you the number of things that I've said, you'll be like, no, you didn't say. You're only saying it because the news cycle is carrying these stories. So it's good that we have the channel. And it's good that we can go back to the old videos that I've made to actually confirm whether I did say certain things or not. Now, let's pivot over to the Democratic Socialist Party. Oh, no, the Democratic Socialist Islamist Antifa Party, because that's really what the Democrat Party has become. And I want to dive into this video by PragerU. Can you define socialism? So we're going to watch this.
A little leftist guy on campus just called campus security. on me and Alex because we hurt his feelings. He said we're riling people up as we're here asking questions. I said, why don't you chat with me? Why don't you have a chat discussion? He said no, and just called security. What's up, guys? This is Will with PragerU, and 70% of millennials say they would likely vote for a socialist. We're here at Cal State LA asking people if they can even...
All right, now, what year do you think this was? Okay, what year do you think this was? Can someone guess? I'm going to take a sneak peek. What year do you think... Don't cheat. What year do you think this was recorded? Okay. All right, so this was recorded. I'm going to move on so we can keep this moving. This was recorded 6 years ago. This was done 6 years ago. The next video that I'm going to play later was recorded, I think, 9 years ago.
Define what socialism is and seeing what they think about capitalism. Let's do it. How would you define socialism?
Socialism, that's a good question. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I know what it is, but I can't think right now. It's just so good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like socializing with others, like
what? No,
somebody, or what?
No, like that
college.
Politics?
Yeah, like the economic system.
I think it's like equality for all.
Isn't it like sharing? Like everything is evenly distributed throughout to everybody.
It's more like a helping everyone else. It's like if you have enough, why not give to who doesn't have it?
How would you define capitalism?
I don't know what that is.
Fair enough. No, that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here to educate. How would you define capitalism?
Capitalism is evil. I think it gives like a running start to most people who have the money for it. But it gives a really big disadvantage for people who are like in the lower class, middle class.
So capitalism is like, imagine you have $5 and I have a sandwich and you want that sandwich and I want $5. We then trade. And now I have the $5 and you have the sandwich. It's like a voluntary exchange of goods, you know what I mean? Like a business makes a product and then sells it to someone else. It's like voluntary, you know? You choose, you know, versus like the government, should be like socialism, the government coming in and saying, you need to give her a phone because she doesn't have one, redistributing the wealth.
Okay, now I'm getting the gist of what you're saying.
Would you say you're like a fan of like socialized medicine, something like that? Free healthcare in the American system.
Of course. I definitely do stand by the truth that Medicare is a right, not a privilege.
You trust the government? No?
It's
so imagine
right.
if the government, who you don't trust, was now running your healthcare and telling you what kind of services you had to get with your healthcare.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until these people get what they want. Until they get what they want. In one of the comments on one of our videos, someone jumped in and was attacking me for my comment about not being in support of universal health care. I'm not. Where I live, I benefit from better healthcare than where I came from. And that's saying something. I came from Nigeria. Healthcare there is like really bad. And I moved over here, and just the experience of giving birth to our son was different. It was planets different from the kind of care that we would have received back in Nigeria. Do I appreciate it? I do. However, there are bottlenecks to that system of healthcare. People think that universal healthcare is free. It's not free. It's funded by your taxes. And if you want healthcare to get better or to keep up with a capitalist-run healthcare system elsewhere in the world, what happens is that the government begins to tax the people more. They tax the people more. In a lot of countries where there's universal healthcare, the the percentage taxed is over 50%. And in such countries, there's a very slim chance that you will ever build generational wealth. Very slim chance. And so people like these students who support universal healthcare, but they believe that the redistribution of wealth would create opportunities for them to build generational wealth. They wish it could be possible, but it's never possible under socialism. The only people who are able to generate that generational wealth are people who are within the stratosphere of power, who can connect into those pipelines of looting and collecting government contracts and jobs and projects, and essentially funneling taxpayer money into their own private accounts. The first guy said that socialism is all about making people equal. Yeah, making people equal in poverty. Not equal in wealth, but equal in poverty. So it's crazy to watch and to see that most of these people don't see the consequences of the thing that they really want.
Probably wouldn't be okay with that.
Right? Like, you've been to the DMV before?
Yes.
Yeah. See, like, how terrible DMV is awful?
It's really bad. It's really bad, yeah.
Now, imagine if the people who worked in the DMV then did your health care.
It would be horrible. Like, it would just...
It's not a good move.
No, not at all. Do you think that would be very good healthcare?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like what socialism would kind of be like when you put bureaucrats in charge of industry. Like bureaucrats in government who are now running all the things in your life instead of you running it for yourself. It's very easy to spend someone else's money when it's not yours. After that, do you think you would still want to support socialism in America?
Nah.
So a leftist student on campus just called campus security on us because apparently we were terrorizing people and riling people up with our dangerous, horrible ideas. Let's see what these people have to say.
Hi, there are two people on our campus right here who are with a conservative group who are here to try to fearmonger students. PragerU.
So as far as leftists are concerned, if you're conservative, you are fear-mongering. Do you agree with that sentiment? Do we fearmonger? As conservatives, do we fearmonger?
Like Prager University, but they're not an actual legitimate university. Well, they're going up to students and they're trying to ask them questions and such.
The goal.
How can we help? Could you remove these two from the campus, please? The reason? Because they're here to fearmonger students, and that's not okay.
Fearmonger?
Yeah, because these are people who are coming in and instigating and terrorizing our students on this campus, and that's not okay. At all that
are they telling you that you can't leave the area? Are they threatening you specifically in any way?
Not specifically. They're threatening me.
It's a simple yes or no answer. All right? No, it's not. No. And he's simply trying to make room for speculation.
With their language, with their ideals.
Unfortunately, I mean, if your ideals or their language doesn't conform to what your thinking is, that's what freedom of speech is.
It's not.
So if you agree with something, he agrees with something else, you guys agree to disagree.
So there's nothing you guys can do?
No, sir. That's freedom of speech.
So that means they're allowed to terrorize students by using
Once again, terrorize is the word that you're using. That's your opinion. I'm here to help you as much as you can, but I'm trying to figure out what law they're breaking right now. So I'm trying to figure that out. That's why I'm asking you. You just keep giving me ideas, your opinions. And the law is not about opinions, it's about facts.
Okay. Are we done here, guys? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Sorry for offending you. Anyway, thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
As you can see, leftists don't support freedom of speech. I have dangerous ideas. I have ideas that are so terrible he can't even say what they are. They will not allow a difference of opinion on their campus that doesn't conform to their leftist agenda. Thank you. Did you learn anything?
A lot, actually, yes.
All right, so I'm going to skip over to a couple of videos that I saw. Zoran Mamdani. Someone just found a clip of Zoran Mamdani on an Arab podcast admitting that he fooled white liberals. I don't think this is a recent video, but maybe a couple of years back. Progressive ideology is just a tool. His real priority is identity. So let's have a listen to this. Is it in Arabic?
I think that with the interesting thing about our communities here is I think that minority communities, because we have never had representation, we are tied much more to identity. White communities, they've had representation forever. And so for them, their tie is a little less identity and a little more ideology. And so what I mean by that is we have a lot of voters here who think of themselves first as progressive voters. And so we reach out to them speaking about our platform, our progressive platform. And you're very right that you need someone in the middle to be a validator, someone to tell them to trust us, believe in us. We've had that with Tiffany Caban and Cynthia Nixon.
So in other words, what does Zohran Mamdani really believe? He simply believes that he's there to represent an identity. It's all about race. And again, if you recall how he ran his campaign, it was really a push for, hey, vote for someone who looks like you, who speaks in Arabic, who's also a Muslim. Okay. So let's watch these videos. These are videos from members of the DSA, because look, whenever you see a Zohran Mamdani, there's a reason why people like him got into office. We're just going to listen to the DSA telling you what they believe, because sometimes whenever we have these live streams and we're like, hey, this is what they believe, sometimes it can sound really extreme, especially when it's coming from a conservative saying what liberals think and say. But here's them in their own words.
But we do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, I don't have like a solid, but I think.
But shouldn't you?
I
mean, if you're the co-chair, of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need. We don't want to depend on the existence of millionaires, because that means people are still getting exploited. So yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen, and then and build from there.
And, we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways that we can, ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers to hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
In their own words, guys.
And, we have a unique responsibility to act.
In their own words. Every single time they open their mouths, they tell you exactly what they are about.
So we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate. True. Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them. Yep. Abolish ICE. Absolutely. Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally. As a long-term plan, yep. Defund the Pentagon. Absolutely.
Do you know how stupid their platform is? It's, they puff out their chests and say, hey, we're the progressive ones. We're the ones who don't believe in war. We want to defund the police. We want to defund and abolish the Pentagon. We want to liquidate the American military because of American hegemony across the world. And one thing that these people basically never talk about is the fact that doing all of these things, one, defunding the police, empowers criminals to act with impunity. Two, liquidating the Pentagon and disbanding the U.S. military sends a signal to other countries that tells them that the United States is open for raiding and pillaging, and you can attack the United States with impunity. They don't care about that. All they care about is power. That's all they care about, is power. And they always have this smug look on their face. Yeah, I'm the progressive one. Not like you Neanderthals who need a gun to protect yourself. We don't believe in private property. So why do you need a gun to protect property that isn't yours? It's crazy that we're hearing this, and it's crazy or crazier that people are literally voting for this. And why are they voting for this? Because just like the PragerU video we just got through watching, there are people going through college who don't know what socialism is.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she wants the abolishment of prisons. So violent criminals should be allowed to walk among us, so that it becomes might makes right. The person who has the greatest ability to exert violence on their neighbor has the right to take over their property or their bodies, in the case of people who engage in assault. So this is who the Democrats have opened their house to. So let's watch this video. This video was recorded 9 years ago. Democratic socialism is still socialism. And this was recorded 9 years ago. If 9 years ago anyone had told you, Hickok says, isn't that subjugation? Look, it's all about power. For the DSA, for the socialists, for the communists, it's all about power. The first thing they need is to take away your guns. Okay, I said the G word, is to take away your Second Amendment right. And then they go for your freedom of speech. You can see clearly that leftist on the campus was miffed that the police who had the guns couldn't get rid of the person whose speech he didn't like. And then a clear 6 years later or 5 years later, a leftist with a gun stopped a conservative without a gun but with a microphone from exercising his freedom of speech, Charlie Kirk. That, so you need to see the handwriting on the wall. And I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. I am. I am. So let's watch this video.
Democratic socialism. It's not the same as socialism because it's democratic, right? Or something, right? People are buying that. People buy that now, right? Apparently. As though adding the word democratic in front of a word changes what it means. Just because we toss something to a vote doesn't change what that something is, nor does it alter whether that something is inherently good or bad. Couple of examples, because I know you'll ask. Hamas was democratically elected as the government in Gaza, despite the fact that the destruction of not only Israel, but the eradication of all Jews is in their official charter. Robert Mugabe, or Bobby Mugabe if you prefer, was democratically elected by a loving majority in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, how's that working out? Venezuela? Well, Hugo Chavez, noted personal favorite and friend of Sean Penn, to whom he constantly pointed as being unfairly characterized as a dictator when in fact he was democratically elected as a socialist. Well, how'd that work out for Venezuela? Well, it's now on the brink of collapse, despite it being one of the most resource-rich nations in the entire world. Basic things like eggs, milk, flour, and toilet paper are either too expensive for the average Venezuelan or simply out of stock. Out of stock, mind you, democratically. I know. Some of you will say, well, that's not fair because really we knew all along it technically was a dictatorship. Okay, that's fair. Let's move on to example number 2. Denmark? Okay, here's the time where you point to an entirely homogenous population, about 1/60th the size of America's, and you point to that as the blueprint. Okay, let's go there. This is a place where the middle class can't even afford a car because of the 180% new car tax. And the Prime Minister was so fed up with Americans pointing to it as a beacon for socialist success that he felt compelled to clarify, I would like to make one thing clear. Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy. Denmark is a market economy. Sweden? I love Sweden. Okay, great bikini team, and thanks to that country, my armoire now doubles as a bookcase. Speaking of which, the founder of IKEA, let's be honest, the only really cool export from Sweden, aside from a few good hockey players, left Sweden because of the stifling high tax rate. So, Sweden, good place, not bad people, but a successful model for a viable economy in today's global market? Incorrect. The fact is that over time, the greatest enemy of socialism is reality. The reality that human nature will invariably pull certain people toward individualism and success, and others toward laziness and collectivism. The tension between the makers and the takers always leads to socialism's inevitable collapse. But I know that I can give you examples of failed socialist economies until I'm blue in the face, and you won't care. Because at least socialism is inherently more morally altruistic than the evil, greedy, capitalist warmongering seen in the West. Greed? What's more greedy than wanting to take from someone else something that you haven't earned? Unlike capitalism, free enterprise, which can only occur truly through voluntary transaction, socialism can only occur at gunpoint. That's what it comes down to. If you don't pay your taxes, once you get through the IRS and the auditing and the lawyers and the PR stunts, people make you give the government your money, an increasing amount of your money, the more successful you are, or they send in scary men with guns to take you away. Now, so long as the people having their stuff taken away at gunpoint are in the minority, and the majority feels that they'll get to benefit from more said taken stuff, you'll always be able to win that decision through a popular vote and claim the moral high ground through democracy. Putting the word democratic in front of your socialism doesn't make it any inherently more moral nor less violent. Did you get that? American wannabe socialists also. Get a job. Please.
Which is the other thing. Most of these people who push for socialism are lazy. I wanted to say that while the man on the street interview was being played. But most of the people you see who are pro-socialism, most of them, and I'm talking about the foot soldiers, are people who just don't have jobs. They're just regular people. The wealthy people who sponsor the protests and the riots, those are the people who are going to be at the top of the food chain when the socialist utopia, kicks in. And they're going to be right there. I was listening to a video about what's his name? The Cuban president. Jeez. Okay. I hate drawing blanks in the middle of a live stream. I can see his face. The guy with this car. Anyway, can someone in the chat remind me of the former Cuban president? Okay, can't spell his name. Okay, Cuba. I'll just say Cuba. I'm sure that just saying Cuba will have the name of what's his face? Jeez, are you joking? Fidel Castro. Jeez. Okay. I hate it when that happens. When I'm in the middle of trying to explain something. I was watching a video about Fidel Castro and how the CIA had planned over 160 times to try to assassinate him over the years. And the video went into a backstory of Castro. It turns out that Castro's family was wealthy. It was a wealthy family. Karl Marx, his family was wealthy. Pol Pot of of what's that country now? Is it Indonesia? One of those countries. Pol Pot of the Khmer Rouge. Pol Pot came from a wealthy farming family. Like all of these people who lead socialist revolutions all come from wealthy families. And when the revolution, takes place and takes over the country, guess where they are? At the very top of the food chain. So most of the things that we see play out in the past with those revolutions are playing out today. You have the wealthy socialists, the champagne socialists like Hassan Piker and all the other socialists like Jane Fonda up at the top with their millions and billions of dollars saying, oh, socialism is good, because they know that when the revolution takes place, they will be the ones at the top of the food chain. And everyone else who attended the protests, who claimed that Trump bad, who attacked conservatives and called us evil, those are the useful idiots that are all going to be equal in poverty. They're going to be called comrade. Comrade, it's so good that you supported us to engage in this revolution. Oh, we're so equal in poverty. You are equal in poverty, while the rest of us, we're taking care of the country. We're making sure everything is running well. Don't worry about the fact that we all have to, dress well and eat well. We represent the vision of a greater proletariat. That is the insanity of this entire deal with the DSA, and the fact that you have people who are swallowing the spiel hook, line, and sinker, for me, is a testament to the failure of the academic educational system.
It's like a real job. You'll probably have to shave first. I'm Steven Crowder for Prager University.
So this was 9 years ago. This was recorded 9 years ago. Okay, so it's crazy that we're hearing about the Democratic Socialist Party or the Democratic Socialists of America, who have essentially taken over the Democrat Party. And PragerU and other voices have been talking about this for years. Now, let me ask you in the chat, and this is just you and I have a conversation. It's very easy to get blackpilled, at least when you see that all of the information that has been out there about socialism, communism, the consequences of bad policies, all of these things are out there informing people about how bad and how evil they are. This is a younger Steven Crowder, 9 years ago, saying the very same things that we're saying today. I have a video from last year where I was essentially saying what was going to happen to New York if Mamdani got elected. I put it was a live stream. It's on the main channel. I think it's still up till now. I said, it's a bad idea. Everything that he promised that was going to be free, he's going to make excuses. And then he's going to turn around and attempt to tax the people. I said it. It's playing out today. So when I see all of these things happening, in spite of all of the warnings, in spite of all of the content that's out there, in spite of the abundance of history that we have that shows that these policies are failed policies. They have never worked. They will never work. Why don't we just take our ball and go home and say, look, this isn't working. Let's just embrace the darkness, because the darkness it's not letting up. It's advancing in spite of all of the information, all of the conversations, all of the evidence that the darkness is bad. So I have to drink before I cough. It's easy to get blackpilled. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to say, why don't I just shut down this live stream? spend time watching movies with my family. Hey, I'm turning 50 in a bit. Let me spend the next 20, 15 years just trying to make some money, live comfortably, and catch up with all the TV shows that I missed when I was a kid back in Nigeria because I was too busy trying to be a doctor. And let the world burn. Let my kids worry about it. Why don't we do things like that? It's because, one, it's not in us to give up. Two, the light is always greater than the darkness. For every single person who says, hey, I'm a socialist, there are 15 other people who have working brain cells who have seen this doesn't work. There are more of us than there are of them. What we have to do is hold the line. What we have to do is continue to speak the truth. What we have to do is continue to open avenues for conversation. And that's why I like to, engage with the chat. I like to talk with the chat and discuss some of these things and say, hey, this is what I think. What do you think? And actually have an exchange of ideas on these things. We've looked at the world and we know that the world is broken. We know the leadership structure of the world is broken. We know that the leaders of the world largely have been betraying their people. We've seen it happening in Europe. We saw it happening for 4 years under Biden. And guys, we're keeping a close eye on what's going on with this administration so that if there's anything that goes sideways, like the Epstein files situation, like we don't like that, don't do that again. We need to keep them honest and we need to let them know how we feel with our votes. And we need to come out and vote, intensely. We need to be present, voting. We need to be vocal online. I know that some of you want to keep your privacy and so on. But the reason why online conversations are so vital is that you have AI now. And AI is basing the analysis on the left versus right conversation, on the volume of conversations on the internet. And that means if you have more people on the left putting out content and conversation about what they perceive as reality on the internet, that's what AI is going to use to establish what is reality. And AI is here to stay. It's here to stay. Now, what will the world look like in 15 years? It depends on you and me. How we vote, how we inform the people that we vote into power, what we want, and the outcomes that we expect. And we need to put their feet to the fire and make sure that those outcomes are respected. We have a long way to go. This is not encouraging for a lot of people. Okay, it's not encouraging for a lot of people. We're like, oh, why are you saying this? Why are you telling us all of this? It's because it's better I tell you the truth than massage you with butter, like Rabbi Daniel Lapin, one of the voices that I listen to. He says he says that a lot. You need to know the truth. You need to know what's out there. You need to know what's in front of you. But we try to keep it lighthearted while we're doing it. And we want you to decide for yourself how you're going to move forward. Once you discover the information, what do you do next? When I discovered the information that I was moving to the West, and I knew that the West, for the large part, when it comes to the mainstream media, is hostile to my position on a lot of things. I am a Christian male. I do not believe in gender fluidity. I believe that God created us and he predetermined our sex long ago. And we were made perfect. I believe that there are people in the world who have had horrible encounters, broken encounters with adults who were given a divine mandate to raise another life in the image of God, but they rebelled and they decided to abuse that human life and to twist it into their own image. And their own image involved a warped sense of sexuality. And there are people who have believed that that warped sense of sexuality is their reality. And as far as they're concerned, the plan that God had for them is broken and is wrong, and their own plans are correct. And then they want all of us to go along with that plan that they've created for themselves. And they would attack you and me if we don't go along with that plan. I realized that this was the world I was stepping into when I left Nigeria and brought my family over here. And I said, do I want to speak openly about these things? Or do I just want to keep quiet and, just get along with everyone and try to and pretend like this isn't important? But it is, because a denial of reality means that everything that holds reality together, that once held the West together, goes away. And once all of those restraints go away, the West will become the third world. The same third world that many of us immigrants fled from. And sadly, many immigrants are betraying the West that has opened its arms to it or to them. By doing what? By siding with the chaos, by siding with the people who are actively trying to destroy the lifeboat. And for what? For acceptance. They want to be accepted. They want to be seen as part of the cool club. Or many of them are just too ignorant to see that they are participating in the destruction of the lifeboat. And it's sad to watch, but it's actually happening. This is not a black pill moment. It's a call to it's a call to action. If you are out there and you believe that what you're seeing in the world is wrong, the world is going in the wrong direction. Okay, my question to you is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to complain and bellyache? Are you going to do what most of us are doing and just shut our brains off and doom scroll till you fall asleep, or sit in front of your video game and play video games and quests or until you're tired and you go to bed and go back to your dead-end job tomorrow? Like, what are you going to do is the question. All right. So it's something that's going on for me. I decided that what I'm going to do is work on this channel, is work on my content, is figure out a way to make the argument easier to understand, to have conversations with whoever needs to have a conversation, and to do this again and again and again. Today is going to be one person who listens, and then tomorrow is going to be 10 people who listen. Then in a few weeks or a few years, it's going to be a couple of hundred people who listen. It takes a while. But we all have to be willing to play the long game. The left has been playing the long game for 70 years. They have. Many of the people who started the game are long gone, but they've passed on the vision to their disciples, to the younger people, and the younger people are carrying that vision forward. How many disciples are you raising for the common sense cause? So this is a call to action. Like this is not a like and subscribe. Okay, donate to my channel moment. A lot of channels have grown, and I was discussing this with Hickox last week. Many of them have changed. They aren't the channels that we used to follow. They aren't the same people that we used to follow. Most of them have changed. And many of us feel betrayed by these people. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you simply going to decide there's nobody out there that we can trust? Or are you going to say, okay, for the few that look like they are the ones we can trust, I'm going to put 100% of my support behind these people and see how far we can push them. And I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. If you can't hold the feet of the creators you support to the fire, you will not hold the feet of the governors or the judges or the senators and congressmen that you elect to the fire. You won't do it. You're just going to sit by, gripe and complain, take your ball and go home, and then repeat the same nonsense the next day. We have to stop doing that. We have to be more economical with our support. We have to be more economical with our votes. We have to be intentional about the way we respond to these things. We have to decide how we're going to respond ahead of time. What if the Republican Party doesn't win in 2028? What are you going to do? No one is planning for that. No one is planning for that right now, because we are wishing and praying that a Marco Rubio or a JD Vance wins by 2028. We're all expecting that to happen. But what if that happens? What's going to happen? Okay, what's going to happen? And even if they win, what will you do? You're fighting with an enemy that is committed. 70 years of pushing the same message and moving things forward. And they are relentless. You cannot fight an enemy that is that relentless by being passive. It's really simple. So while we look at what's going on, like I look at what's going on in the news, and I see channels that are like the stock in trade. Yeah. Hickok says, do what the Constitution says. Become a scholar of the Constitution. There was a survey that was taken a few years back. I can't remember the year. I was listening to an interview by Tom Sowell, and he mentioned that a few years back, maybe 30 years ago, that there was a survey that was taken, and many people couldn't quote some of the key amendments in the Constitution. People couldn't even tell what the structure of the government was. They don't know what the government or how the government should function. So who is their teacher? Mainstream media. Zoran Mamdani. Like those are the people that they learn from. So yeah, do what the Constitution says. It's very important. I'm saying this because it's a long journey. All right, it's a long journey. So don't let any setbacks get you discouraged. Don't let mainstream media lie to you. Don't let all of the things that you see going on, the craziness, get you blackpilled or discouraged, and you feel like everything is going against us. And when you see all of the bad news, like what's going on in Spain, and some of the things that are going on in your neighborhood or in your state, don't let those things discourage you, because the mainstream media wants you to see those things and wants you to feel overwhelmed. Lynn also says, don't let the Senate get to you. The Senate, yeah. She says it has this. Look, I've been screaming about the SAFE Act for months. I've talked about the GOP. I have felt very disappointed. When the results in 2024 came out and Trump won the popular vote and the Electoral College, and we saw that we swept the House and the Senate, every one of us expected a change, a massive change, and a reversal of some of the crazy things that we saw for 4 years under Biden. Lynn says, I think with the SAFE Act, but yet more so, they go away. They go every three days to keep Trump from getting his people put in. So each one of those are just as dirty as the Democrats. That is true. That is true. And that should tell us something. It means that there's a lot of work to be done. There are people who are watching these live streams and they are supposed to go into politics. They are. But they don't want to because they don't want the trouble. Because politics comes with a lot of trouble. It comes with a lot of trouble. But there are people out there who should be in politics, who should go in there and change things. Is it you? Okay, you have to start asking yourself, because if most of the people in power aren't ready to change things, maybe it's your turn to begin to consider that. Or if you're too old to do that, start training your kids. Start raising your kids. Hickok says, go in and raise some hell. I believe that leaders are first born. There are people who are built for this. President Trump, he's built for this. A lot of the people in office are built for it. But many of them are using that gifting for the dark side. They are using it for themselves. They are using it in a selfish way and not for the American people or for the people in the country where you live while listening to this video. So you have to start raising your kids. Who knows? One of your kids might be the next senator, the next congressman, the next president, the next Supreme Court judge. You need to start building in these values into those kids so that when they grow up and they're ready to go into those places of office, you've done your job. Yeah, so go in and raise some hell. Some of us are too old. Personally, I have no desire to be in politics. Zero desire. You know, wish I had it. It's not on my radar at all. But I do want to help people understand how to think about things, how to think about governance, about policy, and how to play the long game, how to look down the road and to tell whether something is going in the right direction or not. Now, since I was flying solo today, I thought that I would be able to keep this under an hour. Am I developing a bad habit? Am I developing a bad habit of not keeping the live streams at a certain length? I don't know. All right, so before we go, I saw this post just before I went live, and I figured we'll look at it and then I'll ask you what you think. This was posted just a few hours ago, a couple of hours before, about 30 minutes or so before I went live. It says, after publicly boarding Air Force One in Turkey, President Trump was secretly moved out of sight from the press to a nearby C-32A plane, which he used to fly to the UK while there was a possible Iranian assassination plot, according to the Washington Post. The unusual Air Force One was the usual Air Force One was the decoy. This was after he originally shifted from the new Air Force One. Not surprising if true, but who is leaking this to the Washington Post? This story is emerging just days after Secretary Pete Hegseth fired the alleged leaker surrounding the first Air Force One story. they all need to be rooted out. So there are two stories here. The first story is the possible assassination attempt in Turkey. I don't know if you heard of that. I think we mentioned it a few weeks back. If you didn't hear of it, let me know in the chat. This is the first time you're hearing of it. President Trump there have been multiple assassination attempts against this one sitting president that has been publicly revealed. Is this normal? I want you to answer the question. Is this normal? Put it in the chat. Is this normal for a sitting president to have so many assassination attempts? Is it normal? There are people out there who say he deserves it because he's so divisive. Who made him divisive? Who said he was divisive? Is telling the truth about things now divisive? That's what they say in the mainstream media. He's an agent of chaos. Hickox says, not normal at all. Everyone who's honest, everyone who's who has an honest heart will say the truth. This is not normal, and many of us right now have been desensitized to this entire situation. The number of assassination attempts on this one man, and yet we still see people who post things online wishing for him to be murdered or wishing for him to not wake up the next day. It is, I would call it an evil heart to have that attitude towards another person. I didn't like the way Joe Biden ran things, but I don't think I woke up every day hoping that he dies. Back in 2010, a sitting president in Nigeria died. He was sick, he was sickly, he was elected, he was sickly, and he did some nice things. And then he dies in office from his sickness. There were Nigerians who were like happy about the fact that a sitting president had passed. They weren't people that I knew, but I knew that there were people who had the sentiment of, oh, finally, one of these losers, has bought it. And I was talking with people and I said to them, the leader of a country carries the soul of that country. Those of you who don't like Joe Biden might not like this, but the leader, as long as Joe Biden was the president of the United States of America, he carries the soul of the country. Many people who didn't support him don't like it, but that is a fact. If he died in office, a part of America's soul will die with him. Many of us were not alive when JFK was assassinated. But many people who were and who remember that incident will tell you that a piece of America died that day. And America has not recovered since. There is a fundamental distrust in the agency, in the government, that went to 1,000% after JFK was assassinated. Even till today, people believe, I wouldn't say they know, but they believe that JFK was assassinated by elements within the American government. The government has never regained the trust it once had from the American people. A piece of the country's soul dies every time a leader dies in office, whether by sickness or by a human agent. It always happens that way. The same happened with Nigeria, where once that guy died, the Nigerian economy climbed for a bit, and then after that, a new president came in, and then the country has been in a downward spiral ever since. A piece of the country's soul dies. So people celebrating an assassination attempt or wishing the president's death do not know that they are wishing for the destruction of their own country. They are chipping away at the branch, or they are sawing off the branch that's supporting them, while they hover over an alligator pit. and they are smiling with glee. They do not realize what's going on. They are literally feeding themselves to the alligators. The second thing that this story brings up is the fact that there's a leak, or there was a leak in the Pentagon. A leak so that, they say the person was fired. If this person leaked sensitive information that could have led to the assassination of a sitting president, firing should not be what we're discussing right now. So that gives me pause. The question is this a serious allegation or is it made up? Now, I want you to let me know in the chat. I've heard people say that the attempts on President Trump's life were all made up. They're all staged. They're all supposed to be a distraction. If you see the Department of War or the Pentagon responding to an alleged leak that could have caused the assassination of a sitting president, should the person who leaked it simply be fired? Or should there have been more legal proceedings that would show how serious the situation was? I'm asking this because, and I'm just going to throw out my own perceptions. There are mixed signals going on stories like this. If someone truly put the life of the president at risk, why should they be walking around with a resume going to get another job elsewhere? Hickle says the assassination against Trump were all connected to one side that spouts the most hate. Granted, you have that happening. Why aren't people being prosecuted? Are we going to see prosecutions in the days to come? I don't know. It's like these are questions that I'm asking. And I want you guys to know that I'm asking these questions internally and I want you to ask questions too. Asking questions and doubting the reports that you see on social media are a good thing. They're healthy. It means that you're paying attention. Like I said, we all celebrated when Trump won, when the House and Senate were swept by the Republican Party, but we're seeing things that we do not like coming from the GOP. We've seen things that we do not like coming from the administration. So we all need to stay alert and stay awake. But like I said, what you do whenever these people let you down is totally up to you. Don't let them letting you down change your resolve. It's really important that you keep your resolve going. Today, I got some bad news, personal bad news, not the other thing that I've been telling you guys about. It's something else. And I spent the day dealing with my internal reaction to the bad news. Because you either let the bad news mess with you or you make adjustments. So you have to learn how to make adjustments. Whenever these people make their funny decisions, make adjustments. Many of us are, I don't know, maybe later we'll talk about some of the ideas that you could come up with, because many of you who are listening right now are older, you have families, and you're like, what adjustments can I make? Hey, we can talk about that on a different stream. Just talk about it and say, hey, what can we do whenever the government lets us down? In Nigeria, many of us lived for years. I lived for over 40 years under governments that let us down. We didn't have power, we didn't have water, we didn't have good roads, we barely had security. So many of us had to essentially become our own government. we had to adapt. Not that adapting is always a good thing, because the spirit of adapting to these things has continued in Nigeria, and things have gotten way worse since I was there. But yet people are still adapting. And I think it's a good thing to be able to adapt and to adjust, okay, to some of the hardships that bad governments bring. But these are questions that I have, and I'm like, okay, what do you think about these stories? What do you think about the fact that some of the actions that should be taken seriously about a threat on a sitting president should be taken more seriously than just firing a bunch of people? I mean, what's going on? This is not conspiracy theory hour. I just saw this report and I was like, I had some questions and I wanted to share it with you guys. All right, guys. It's been a lengthy conversation after I showed a bunch of videos, but I would like us to be able to just chit chat occasionally. You guys let me know what you think on some of the things going on in the news, and then we just exchange ideas and exchange thoughts. We've been focusing more on playing footage to show what's out there and then have conversations. Maybe we'll do more of this in the days to come, where we simply sit and really do a deep dive on certain thoughts. The thing with chatting, having a conversation with the live chat, if it's not flowing, it gets very boring, and people on the internet get bored very quickly. So I try not to make things boring for people. All right. So we've gone over an hour. This has been fun. We've screamed, laughed. We've talked about some serious things. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate you guys tuning in every single time we go live. We're going to continue to improve the quality of the live stream, so don't worry. We're going to improve the quality of the live stream. I have made a pact with you to stay authentic, to stay real about my convictions and the things that I have told you I believe. So we're going to continue to do that with you. We're going to continue to cover these stories, and we're going to continue to improve on our content. I'm working on a video for the main channel. It's taking a week. I'm still working on that new video because I have been making a bunch of adjustments to the story. Hickox is reminding me to tell you to hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the like and subscribe button, guys, okay? Join us in the Discord. The Discord is where we go to have deeper conversations about a bunch of things. Hickox, his wife, his lovely wife, Lynn, Tony, we all hang out in the Discord, and we tend to have conversations, and it's really cool to be able to connect with a community. And we're trying to build on the Discord because, just like I said, what happens if in 2028 you don't have a Republican in the White House and we have a repeat of what we saw under the Biden presidency, with people losing their accounts simply because they said favorable things about a conservative or about Donald Trump? So having that Discord is like security, all right, so that we stay connected. But it's okay if you don't want to be a part of it. But it's really cool when you're able to connect directly with the people that you see in the chat, or with me personally. So it's really cool to do that. All right, guys, tomorrow we're going to be back again. Same time tomorrow. I'm going to be back here at 8 p.m. Eastern. The reason why the time was adjusted is that my daughter has day camp all week. So Hickok says, join it. So my daughter is going to be at day camp all week. And when I usually go live is when I have to go pick her up. So 8 p.m. Eastern is when we're going to be doing lives for this week. And who knows, if it takes, maybe we stay with it. Who knows? But let me know if you like the time of day. I just want to feel what you guys think. All right, guys, we're going to be calling it a day. And thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for being in the chat. Lynn and Hickox, you were in the chat. Keeping it warm, giving me feedback. Thank you. And reminding me that I should tell people to like and subscribe. So thank you so much. And we're going to be back again tomorrow with more stories and possibly with more conversations that would make you laugh, cry, get you upset. But then again, we want to circle back to hope. Okay. There are more of us than there are of them. There are more of us than there are of them. The loud minority wants you to believe that they outnumber us. But guys, look at the elections, the 2024 elections. It was a sweep. What happened to the majority who supported the Democrats? What happened to the majority? They don't exist. All right, they don't exist. Intergalactic Wrangler in the chat. Just they have poked the bear and now we're hungry. Yes, they have. Look, every single time people on the right decide to do their job, every single time they decide to do their job, the left can't stand it because there are more of us than there are of them. And we have to keep reminding ourselves of that. Even when we see the crazy news, even when we see the crazy man on the street videos of people like this leftist, okay, like this leftist who wants to shut down free speech because he doesn't like it, because it's bothering him that someone is actually telling him the truth. Even when you meet people like this at the protests who can't even say why they're protesting, and there are thousands and thousands of them out there. With the thousands out there, multiply it by 5. Okay, we outnumber them minimum 5-1. We're just too busy taking care of our families and our loved ones and being responsible and paying taxes. Lynn says, I guess the whole thing with Republicans keeping Trump from getting his recessed appointments has been my main thing. How can they go about every 3 days, do their thing just to avoid him from people? One of the things that we have to make peace with is the deep state is real. All right? The deep state is real. Lynn, now there's something that I've come to see, and since I've seen it, it's helping my blood pressure. And that is that with a lot of these things that are happening in government, where it appears that decisions are being made that are really bad for us, these people have done this, like a different version of these people have done this in the past. They've done it in the past. They've made decisions that are harmful to the people. They've voted in ways that are not compatible with the expectations of the voters. They've done things like that in the past, and it looks like, oh, these people are about to destroy civilization. This is a civilization-ending decision, and so on. what I found out is that most of this has happened in some form or another in the past. It's happened before. One of the things that also comes to mind is one of the sayings of Jesus: the meek shall inherit the earth. It's a weird combination. The meek shall inherit the earth. The powerful people make all of these moves to try to crush smaller, weaker people that they deem to be weaker than them, who will not hold them accountable. But eventually, as history has shown us, eventually the regular godly people will outlast the evil people. So I want you to keep your head up, okay? Yes, you see that they are trying to play games with these appointments that should allow President Trump move some of these policies that he ran on, that you want to see implemented. You can see that they are stalling and they are keeping him from moving forward. Don't let it get to you. Okay, don't let it get to you. They've all played this game before in some form or another. In the end, it's going to work out for you. Okay? In the end, it's going to work out for you. It's a very simple thing. All right? The meek shall inherit the earth. That is basically one of the things that comes to mind. So it doesn't bother me, even when I see some of the crazy things that happens during the hearings. I'm like, learn to laugh at it. Okay, learn to laugh at it and just shrug it off and move on. It's really as simple as that. Okay, so don't let those things get to you. Okay, just move on and believe that everything will work out. Believe everything will work out. All right, but do what you need to do. Get out there and vote. Be very vocal online and learn how to be articulate with your points. Okay. All right. Let's see. Linda, I think, is a first-time chatter. I'm gonna welcome you. Says, I have Jesus. Well, I don't. So, Linda, you're going to need to explain what you don't, but I do agree. Having Jesus is great. All right. Having Jesus is great. All right. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to give Linda a moment to kind of clarify, because I want to give her the benefit to kind of clarify her statements. And then I can shut this down. I don't want to be rude. So I'm just going to let Linda clarify her statement, and then we can call it a night. All right. Now, and guys, let me know the two halves of this live stream. We had the first half where we went through the videos and reacted to a bunch of things. And then we had this small portion where we had just me talking and telling you stuff and you responding in the chat and we having that. Which one did you enjoy more? If you enjoy the first part, we're going to keep doing the first part, but I really enjoy having exchanges with you in the chat. Okay. So, Linda, if you feel like you're being put on the spot, is fine. I'm not trying to force you to have a conversation. It's just that what we try to do is to have understanding of what you're saying. And I have a contract with the viewers that if you put something in the chat, I will read it and I will try to make sure that it's something that my response is adequate to what you're posting, because I want to respect your time. Okay, so I'm going to give it a few moments. If Linda doesn't post anything to follow up on this, because I assume that there's a delay. I assume that there's a few seconds delay. Some people have a minute delay. Some others have 2 minutes delay. So I assume that there's a delay, and that's why I kind of have to wait to see if there's something more. So yeah, so what did we talk about tonight? Let's do a recap. We talked about the revelation that Elon gave on X about the true situation of assault happening in Spain. Okay. that they essentially have hit the target of SA reports in 1 week that would usually be a full year's report. That's what was revealed by Elon. Of course, the Spanish government do not like it. Linda seems to disagree with my statements. So Linda says, no explanation needed. Delete and answer to God, not me. I think Linda doesn't like the fact that I am either a Trump supporter in her head. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a truth supporter. So I agree with Trump's policies. And if Trump goes sideways, I call it out and say, look, this doesn't smell right. But if that's not enough for a lot of people, that's fine. People can do whatever they choose to do. So I think we've gotten our response from Linda. Okay. All right. Lynn, thank you for being in the chat. All right, guys. We are going to be back again tomorrow. Love you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and join us in the Discord, and let's be back again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.